Thank you very much for the opportunity for me to talk about roadmap for sustainable waste management. And today I will present what is the current state of waste management globally and what can be done. Waste management is an issue that has always been in the back burner for most of the societies. If you look at the urbanization, with urbanization, population is being shifting from rural area to the urban area. Along the process, transportation system went from car-driven car to the rail line to the super speed train. But the waste management in most of the part of the world, what was back in 1950, now in 2020, there has not been much changes. But if we want a sustainable city, sustainable urban city, sustainable place to live, and safe and environmentally healthy place, we need to make waste management a priority. We cannot be using the system that had been used in 40, 50 years ago. What else is happening during urbanization? If we look at this, this is a photo of Dubai between 1990 and 2013. A lot of development. Kuala Lumpur, Korea. You cannot even imagine the Seoul, how Seoul changed in 50 years. Shanghai. With this, rural area became urban area, a lot of building and infrastructure came in the picture, many office space come in the picture. As a waste management professional, what I'm looking at, that there is a lot of waste generated between these two time periods, additional waste. Why? With urbanization, people's economic wealth increases, its standard of living increases, consumption increases. What is the final product? Waste generation increases significantly. If you look at the projected waste generation by region, this is a data from World Bank. Low-income and middle-income countries in next 30 years, waste management, generated waste is going to be triple and double. Not much in upper and middle-income or high-income countries. Now, if the waste generation increases this way, are we managing the waste in a way that will be healthy and sustainable? With all this increased waste generation, we were hit by COVID, last year. And because of COVID, waste generation increased significantly, and one sector increased more than other is basically medical waste. And along with the medical waste, if you look at these photos, that everything you can see in the photo, there is plastic, plastic, and plastic. The world was trying to get away from plastic, and everywhere we're talking about plastic, recycling and plastic. But COVID brought back all the things that were banned, like single-use plastic bag were banned, before the COVID. During the COVID, there was an idea that on the surface of plastic, COVID, the virus can stay there up to 72 hours. So what happened? Everybody went back to using more plastic, during the COVID period. So if we look at this, since 1950, 6.3 billion tons of plastics were, produced. 91% of them were never recycled. So before COVID hit, everybody was trying to get rid of one-time use plastic bag and plastics, but after COVID hit, plastic generation and use increase significantly. Not only that, we know mask and hand gloves, increased use of mask and hand gloves all over the world now. Now, if you go to the beaches, in last 1.5 years, there are a lot of mask and hand gloves all over the beaches. So before COVID hit, we had issues with the waste. Now with COVID, we are in more trouble. And so we need to make sure that we are managing it right. One of the main issues, we are generating more waste, but what about the collection? If you look at this, lower middle income and middle income countries average, the collection is less than 50%. If it is less than 50% collected, what happens to the rest of the 50% that we are not collecting? It ends up in, uncollected waste causes air pollution, flooding, public health disasters. Look at this. This was a one time, this is a photo from Bangladesh, Dhaka. This was a small water channel. People, you could not go from one side to another. This is water channel. Now that for complete water channel is completely filled with garbage. You can walk from one side to another side. Around that area, there are a lot of dengue fever. There are a lot of mosquitoes. This is a breeding ground for all kind of disease. Uncollected garbage also end up in drainage system. And with that, what is happening, in Dhaka city and some other cities where the cities are not under the water level, but during the rainy season, because this plastic bag gets into the drainage system, drain is clogged, they will see flooding immediately during the rain and immediately 1-2 days after the rain. That causes not only the problem for the city commuters, it causes a lot of health issue for everybody around that neighborhood. So we need to make sure, when we're talking about waste management, our waste collection becomes one of the major issues, which is neglected or is not paid attention to. Now, globally, how the waste is managed. This is theory that we should have source separation, recycling, energy recovery, and last option is treatment and disposal. But if you look at the data from global picture, 70% is dump site or sanitary landfill, which are supposed to be the least preferred choice, which is mostly used around the world. Waste to energy is only 11%, 19% is mechanical treatment and composting. Now, with the open dumping, there is one major issue, COP26, and many people discussed about it, open burning. Whenever you are burning the trash in an open dump site, you are creating a lot of issues for the air pollution and everything else, health hazard. This is a very, very serious health hazard. So we cannot manage our waste this way. Another issue with dump site, there is no bottom liner system in the dump site. So when there is leachate generated, it goes to the nearby water body and it creates a huge problem for everybody. Look at this open dump site. Because of the operational issue, the dump site was completely full by 2017 and they kept operating on it. This started the operation 50 years ago. The dump site failed in 2017. It cost more than 150 people's life. So issue is, dump site and landfills are easy to operate. People are familiar with it. Is it the best system? No. Can we live with it? No. Do we need to change? Yes. But the change is not going to be easy. Because dump site and landfill, are very expensive. In a way, you need a lot of land. Every 20-25 years, you need land for landfill. But people are shifting from rural area to cities. Cities are becoming mega cities. So when a city doesn't have enough space for the people to live, how you can find space in every 20-25 years? So we need to come up with a solution that this land issue can be solved. Okay, one of the solutions that developed world uses is waste to energy and other technology that can be used in the developing country if they're appropriate for their generated waste. What do I mean by that? In low-income countries, you have more than 60 to 80% organic waste, and most of the time they're food waste generated in kitchen and our markets. On the other hand, in high-income countries, you have high amount of plastic paper. So if you burn the high-income countries' waste, you have enough caloric value that you get enough energy out of it. When you go to the low-income countries, including many countries in South Asia and Africa, their moisture content sometimes is 60 to 80%. So when you're trying to burn those trash or garbage for waste generation, as if you are burning liquid and hoping that you get a lot of energy out of it. If you look at the World Bank data, you need more than 6,500 BTU per kg for it to be viable for waste to energy generation. None of those countries has waste characteristic that will give you more than 3,000 BTU energy value. So why still many countries are trying to use it? Because I think maybe they don't know the technology, maybe they're not familiar that this waste characteristics is a major decision-making tool, and for finding out which technology that we can use. Now, there is another thing that I want to mention. During the COVID, I don't know where is the source, but in the beginning, in Wuhan, China, they had 5 major waste to energy plant. They releases a lot of cancer causing dioxin and furans. They're also major source of particulate matter, tiny particles of dust. Both of these materials can get into people's lung very easily and causes, heart disease, breathing trouble, and diabetes. All of these are also, the pre-existing disease that affects the COVID virus, the people who get affected by COVID virus more than others. There is also another study by, T.S. Chan School of Public Health in Harvard, that if you have 1 microgram per cubic meter more PM2.5 in the air, the death they found in that area was 15% more. Look at this. There are some, of this waste to energy plant very next to the neighborhood. And a lot of people died in Europe in the beginning. Early days of COVID, if you look at this map, this is the number of cases, this is the places where you have more waste to energy in USA. Look at the number of deaths. This simply overlaps. Where you have more waste to energy plant, more people around there living there are, in general, low income population, and most people died in those areas in the beginning. So there is no way you can say, there is no effect of this waste to energy plant on the people's health, which, releases a lot of dioxin and cancer causing equipment and PM2.5. All this increases the possibility of COVID death. So considering everything, we have now wrote a book on waste crisis, which is basically, gives you the roadmap for sustainable waste management. This was the previous method, old dump site sanitary landfill, but we are going for sustainable waste management or perpetual landfill concept. This is here, we have collection, processing, and waste to energy generation or landfill gas to energy generation. But one thing that we propose new here, that we come up with a system facility which is called sustainable material and resource treatment facility. One location, all the trash comes here, you sort the waste here. After sorting them, you recycle the material, or you use the organic waste for compost facility. Everything, after doing everything, if anything is left over, it goes to the biocell. Biocell is basically a previously operated landfill, kind of like that, but we operate it in a way that all the decomposition will be completed within 10 to 15 years. And we operate it in a way that we keep reusing the space again and again. That means we will never require, once we have a facility, we'll never require a landfill or biocell space for another 50 to 100 years. So this solves the major issue of people are looking for landfill space every 20 years. And there is always issue because they cannot find the space. So this solves the major crisis of, that they need more space for the landfill operation, but we are not doing landfill operation anymore. This is a smart facility where the facility will operate for 100 to 150 years. Okay. Now, another benefit of this system, that what about recycling? Remember, if we recycle something and don't use them, there is no use of recycling. We need to make product out of recycled product. And in Texas, out of a plastic bottle, there is some company making recycled plastic pin, and we are using for civil engineering infrastructure project, and we are using for fixing the highway slope. This is one of the case study that we presented in many places. Now, I don't have the time for video, but I'll send the link. We also, I also very strongly believe that if we have a system, and if we only know, if we don't transfer the technology to other countries, the technology has no value. So ISWA and Swiss combined together, we have a winter school going on for last 5 years, except last year because of COVID, we canceled. We brought people from 85 different countries, show them how to operate a sustainable waste management system, and they went back to their countries and they're implementing some of this idea they learned from here. Okay, thank you very much. I also want to mention that ISWA, International Solid Waste Association, awarded Swiss Solid Waste Institute of Sustainability the award, for one of the best training center and one of the best research center in the world. Okay, I hope this presentation will be helpful. If in case you have any question, please let me know, and I will try to address them. Thank you very much.